Welcome to Rubens Nest, Uniquely Yours, a show designed for the plus-size community. The ladies are back in the nest, ready to catch up and do what they do best, dish. Ever wonder what it's like to walk in another's shoes? Well, put on your plus-size walking shoes and take a stroll with the ladies through a day in the life on the plus side. We'll share highlights from stories about some inspiring people making news, discover some very interesting and unique items made with the larger community in mind, and of course, talk a little fashion. But wait, that's not all. At last, the winners of our Love Me As I Am Because campaign will be announced. There's a lot of show of heads, so sit back and relax, and let's welcome the ladies, Cyddia and Tomia. Take it away, ladies.
Hi there, and welcome to Rubens Nest. It's so good to be back yet again. Hopefully you enjoyed the last show, and we've got a lot to talk about today. But guess what? I'm not alone. Tomia's back. We've got Pome'e back. Yay! And hopefully we might have a surprise. Siobhan may call in and we may be able to talk to her for a little bit. You know, she's still in recovery and she was going to try and make it. But, you know, when you've had surgery, it takes time.
It does.
And I'd rather she heal, you
Yes.
know, and be completely 100% before, you know, coming out here. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
More than
but,
emotion sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I know I've had surgery and it really takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
It really does. You think you can do it and then you realize, oof,
Man.
no, I can't. You know? So, and that's with my magical recuperative powers, you know. I'm still sort of drained every now and again, you know, with
Yes.
major surgery. So
Yeah.
hopefully next month we'll
Yeah.
have her back and we'll all be live, all the way live.
All
Yay.
the way live.
Yay, it's so good. Well, we had a great show last time and you missed it. It was a perfect opportunity for you to share your passion that you have for young women. I mentioned it.
Yes, you did. You
I
did.
did.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And it was fun talking about moms and the special role that they have, you know, and it would have been great to have Siobhan talk about her raising, especially she's raising twins.
Yes, twin
and a
girls.
son,
Yes.
twin girls and a son
Yes.
who is a little music mogul.
Yes.
You know, so it would have been a great show. But we had fun with our interviews and it was good.
I saw it and I
It was a
loved
good
it.
show. Did you enjoy it?
I did, and if you haven't, go check it out.
Definitely. Please go check it out. You know, it was a bit longer than normal,
Yeah.
but it's a good watch and
Yeah.
a lot of good content and definitely, you know, a not to miss. So do what I do. Make sure that you sit down, have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a cup of whatever, or a glass of whatever. Relax, watch it. When you had enough, you stop, you break, you get up, you do something, you come on back. Okay? You know, do it in 2 parts.
Yes.
But it was a good show.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of stuff going on.
We do.
You know, the other day I was looking at Facebook, you know, kind of checking in, and there is a site that is new, kind of talking about women positivity and, you know, just trying to, you know, share with one another's. And of course, it's plus size women.
Yeah.
And there was this one woman talking about an experience that she had just had. Went in for a procedure, and they didn't have a gown big enough for her frame, so she had to wear 2. Been there.
Been there. Done that.
Done that, yep. Then the equipment, the table that she had to be on wasn't large enough, didn't have the necessary equipment, stirrups and whatnot for her to be able to be positioned appropriately on it, and she just really felt super, super bad about the whole thing, and the nurse...
Not accommodating at all.
Not at all. The nurse was thin. She tried, but the nurse couldn't handle her, and she said that the person doing the procedure had such a look of disdain on their face, like,
A nerve.
can you just hurry up and get yourself, positioned so I can do this and get out of here kind of thing. And, everybody was chatting and giving suggestions and saying, hey, try this hospital, try that hospital, whatnot. It's always been my pet peeve that when I've gone to the hospital that I have to sometimes, they tell you, they give you a gown like, here, what am I supposed to do with
this?
Okay.
A bib, long big bib, that's all.
Yeah, I was like, this thing is not going to close, And now, thankfully, I'm going to give Cedars-Sinai a plug because Cedars-Sinai has, over the last several years, have changed, and they have gowns that you can wear that fit you. As a matter of fact, the gowns now, I feel so petite because they're
huge.
massive.
They're massive.
They really are.
Really, but well enough to wrap you around.
Yeah.
Feel like nothing's gonna show, nothing covered. Because you always see in the movies, booties out, hanging out.
Right. Exactly.
No breeze, nothing hanging out. You're fully covered.
You feel completely covered, and it's like, okay, this is good. So I'd rather too big than not big at all.
Exactly.
But it got me thinking about, that's just like one of the many things that we have to deal with as
in the everyday life.
Everyday life. So I thought, hey, today why don't we just take a stroll and talk about some of the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. I mean, from the time you wake up in the morning, depending on, your home and how your home is built, or if you're in an apartment, sometimes the shower is not big enough, to kind of maneuver. In my home, we have 2 bathrooms, and one has both shower and tub.
Yes.
The other one is just shower.
Yeah.
Well, back, I know, how many years ago? 20 something years, when we had one of the earthquakes.
Yeah.
We had to leave the house, and everything had to be redone. Well, when they redid it, they put what they call, I guess it's like a shower unit, and it's like a shell that they just sort of slide it in. Well, my shower that used to be bigger is now
more accommodating.
A little compact. So before, where I could, kind of
Yes.
Now it's like moving, and here's the wall. I'm on the wall now.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of not so cool.
No.
So there's showers, and then simple things like the toilet. It's not big enough, or it's too low. You've got issues with that.
And that's why when I did a remodel recently of my own home, I made sure that I wanted it higher off the ground, because you don't want to have to stoop and squat so low, which I know medically we're supposed to be in a squatted position, but I didn't want to have to go that low.
Exactly. And you can barely get up.
And 2, you have to worry about, I've not done it, and Lord, I pray I never, but I've heard of people actually breaking bowls.
Oh, yeah.
Bowls, commodes have broken.
Yeah.
Because America, we are a little bit larger, and over time, yeesh.
Yeah, you keep banging on it, and eventually it's gonna crack.
Yes, and I even have a girlfriend, she's broken a few toilet seats. She is on the wider hip side, wider bottom side, and she has to change toilet seats even in her own home every so often. Because they're not, I don't know, they're just not manufacturing things that are accommodating for larger people, and so
No, they're not. They're not. It's really ridiculous. And we have issues even going out to eat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I went to lunch with a friend the other day, and I walked in, and they, accommodated us, and they said, okay, let's take you to your booth.
Yeah.
And I went to get into the booth, and I said, oh no, this is not going to work. The seat is too low and the chair is too high. All right.
Table.
And the table part. So you're sitting, kind of like this, and so it's like, what am I supposed to just feed my face or feed my boobs?
Or you're just mushed this way here.
And it didn't move. The table didn't move. So I said, I'll take the table over there. Thank you. There was an article in the New York Times about Rebecca Alexander, who has, because of her experiences with being in restaurants that the booths don't fit, you know, has created an app that's similar to Yelp called Algo. You know,
I love.
Yeah, you know, and she was testing it in the Portland market, and it'll eventually, you know, go out throughout the country. But she had an experience where she just recently got a promotion, wanted to take people out, do a little celebrating and whatnot. And then, you know, boom, you know, she gets there and wasn't fit. And in order for her to get a table, because she couldn't get a booth, you know, they had to stand around for what, like 30 minutes?
She had to wait another 30 minutes. And of course, she's with her coworkers and they're out to celebrate. And, you know, you're told by the maitre d' or whoever, oh, well, we have this booth for you. Okay, that's not going to work for me. Okay, well, then we don't have any tables. Now she's got to wait another 30 minutes. So now she's feeling bad. Everyone's ready to go out and, you know, they're there to eat. So it's like, okay, you know, you're the larger person in the group. You're having to now have to ask your crew, just to get a table to accommodate me. We have to wait another 30 minutes. So she felt uncomfortable in that situation.
Absolutely. And that's something that we face on a daily basis, you know, oftentimes. So, you know, Tomia and I were talking about this, and she was saying, you know, I read the article and I just kind of wanted to pick it apart a little bit.
I did.
Yeah.
Because, and this is personally because I've been a big woman a long time, and I've dated big guys. And, big guy in particular that I was dating at one time, we were going to a well-known restaurant, and I know because we've been to the restaurant multiple times, well, I'll go back to before we realized. One time we were at a restaurant and the chair was just not going to work. It had a chair with arms on it. And so he tried to go to the seat and be accommodating and sit down, but then he just knew it wasn't going to work. But then I could see in his face that he was embarrassed. He didn't want to have to say anything. So I went to the maitre d' and said, you know what, could we either get another table or do you have armless chairs? And the woman looked at me and she said, oh, we did. And I was so happy. He felt good. That embarrassed look, kind of whatever, he didn't have to go through it because I understand. And we were able to get a chair with an armless chair, so he was able to sit comfortably, and we were able to enjoy our dinner.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to ask.
You have to ask sometimes,
and you know, sometimes you really need to call ahead. I mean,
that's the part, yes.
That's it.
And that's the part I was saying too, because when you are a larger person, just for me personally, this is something I do. Let's say a girlfriend says we're going to go out, and if it's a restaurant that I've never been to, I'm going to call ahead and I'm going to ask, you know, and especially too, I have another friend, because she is a larger person, she doesn't like tight places to get in and out. She gets claustrophobic, and then she doesn't want to have to pass up anyone where she's having to, you know, brush them with her butt or her hips because, you know, she's, you know, on a wider side. So you have to consider those things, and I'm thinking, when you know you, call ahead, ask. And I was just making it something as simple as a person that maybe has a disability. If they're in a wheelchair or if they're on a cane, normally they call ahead to see if you have an accessible entrance, or to see if you have maybe, like at some restaurants, they have a lower, lower desk or lower tables? Because if you're in a wheelchair, you are sitting lower, and you don't want this table to be up here and, you know, at your face. You want it to be at the normal length, and so you kind of have to call ahead, and that's something I would suggest to anyone that's going to go to a restaurant, because you're going to sometimes get a booth that does not move. You're going to have to wait that extra 30 minutes. You're going to have to maybe experience, if you're on the wider side like I am, maybe sitting in a chair with arms on it, it's going to pinch and it's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to be able to enjoy your meal. You know, that's a suggestion I would give, a little tip.
And I have a suggestion for those who build restaurants, all of you restaurateurs out there. You know, consider the fact that you want people to come to your restaurant, and we're not all made the same.
Exactly.
So it would be really nice if you could, you know, have a few booths, you know, spread about. You know, make your tables a little wider. If you're going to do a booth, don't make them so soft and squishy that a person who has more weight sinks. So now obviously the table comes up, make it a firm bench. I'm happy with that. Then I'm not sinking. So it's all good,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we'll come and enjoy our experience at your restaurant.
Absolutely.
And patronize more than once.
Right. Now, some of our other issues and problems is traveling.
Yes.
Now, traveling is something that I've always had problems and issues with.
Yes.
And I used to get embarrassed. I don't get embarrassed anymore.
No.
But, you get on a plane, you get in the seat, and
The seatbelt
seatbelt.
Yeah.
And it's, you whisper, you get,
Yeah.
the stewardess's attention. They don't call them stewardesses anymore. Flight attendants.
Yes.
I've just aged myself yet again. The flight attendant to come and you say, could you get me a belt extender, please? And you don't want the whole world to hear you because, oh my God, And sometimes, what's really annoying is sometimes all you need is this much.
Yes.
That's all. You just need this much. So now you've got this belt extender just because you only needed this much more. It's like, why can't you make the belt a little bit longer?
Okay.
I mean, it really, come on. Is it gonna, break the bank to make it just a little bit longer?
No.
Or do you just love having people feel embarrassed?
That, or I had an experience. There was a period where I didn't travel for some time, and then all of a sudden I started traveling again. And I remember back when I would have to ask for one, but I had one of the most pleasant experiences, and this goes to the business owners that are out there, the airlines department. The stewardess, seeing me knowingly, you know what your product is, you know it's not going to be extended. You see me, respectfully, she offered me one, and I
that was awesome.
So she offered it before I had to ask for it, before I had to sit there and try to struggle and fight it to see if maybe possibly I could buggle it. But she offered it ahead of time. So just like we said about the restaurants, if you make the product and you know that you see people just like you see them, make products that are going to be accessible for people that are on the wider, larger size, more full-figured, more heavier size, because you don't want a chair to break, you don't want to have to struggle with the seatbelt, all those little different things.
Exactly.
And I think it left an impression on me, enough to say many years later now to even bring it up.
Yeah.
The stewardess handed it to me
That's
ahead of
awesome.
time before I
That
even
was
had to
great.
ask her. And did I call her a stewardess too?
Yeah, you did. So you did yourself too.
Flight attendants.
Flight attendants,
Okay.
yes. And then the other thing is that, there are hotels, there are activities that you want to participate in, and sometimes you cannot, but there is a company called Abundant Travel.
Yes.
And I remember you were telling me something about that, that you had at one time or the other, I don't remember if we were talking about going someplace or whatever, but you had heard about Abundant Travel and that they cater.
Yes. So with Abundant Travel, they have a site where you can go on and you can find things that are going to accommodate you. Like one of my desires, I still haven't done it yet, but I'm working on it. I want to go horseback riding. And with this Abundant Travel, they have where they'll use larger horses. Because I've been turned away before. This was many years ago when I was much smaller, but still full-figured. And, I had this idea I was going to go take a horse ride, but then I had to been told, oh, well, you're too large for the horse. So, of course, that dashed my little dream of getting on a horse. So, when you research these things, again, that goes my another tip again, call ahead. See if this is going to, if they're accommodating or if they have this accommodations. So anyway, with Abundant Travel, they have ones where you can have horse rides. They're larger horses that will accommodate people of a certain size. And I mean, they just have a lot of different things that you don't have to go there and be embarrassed or not even try to go in the first place.
Yeah, and they can also, they are a travel agency and they will, research where it is you're going.
Done it already, yes.
They'll do the research. They will provide hotel reservations. They will give you, tours that are available, that are accommodating to you as a larger size person.
Yes.
And they can, give advice on what kind of reservations, what you should, what seats that you should get. I mean, I go back and, I love Hawaii. And on my last trip to Hawaii, I flew Hawaiian Air. And Hawaiian Airlines has a section that is, what they call, I think they call it like comfort seating or something. And it's just a little bit more, the flights are, flight airfare, I should say. The airfare is great most of the time. They usually get really good rates. But just for a little bit more, the seat is a little larger. You've got more room.
Leg room.
A little more accommodating.
Yes.
And I don't mind paying a little extra.
No, because if you're going to be, so that means that they thought about me. They thought about a full figure people ahead of time. And it made it available because you want to be able to enjoy your trip getting there before you get there. You don't want to be cramped for 5 hours, worrying about spilling over on someone else, having to pay a full price of a whole nother seat versus you're just paying a little bit more than the one single seat. Because I personally don't want to have to pay, let's say my trip was $300. I have to pay another $300, so I'm paying $600 for 2 seats so that I'm not spilling over, disturbing someone else, No.
Yeah.
But I like that.
Yeah.
They thought of
it, and I think it's awesome,
Yes.
I was a happy little camper.
Okay.
I was even, what even made me happier was the fact that there wasn't anybody else. So I actually I took a nap. I laid down and, said, I'm just going to stretch out.
Okay.
It was awesome.
I love it.
So, so Hawaiian Airlines, thumbs up. By the way, we'll be booking real soon. Because we're heading back to Hawaii. Oh, let the cat out of the bag, didn't I? Ooh. We've got something coming. So abundant travel is really, I think that, somebody got it.
Yes.
And people make profit off a lot of things.
Yes.
But hey, it's okay.
Yes.
It's all right. Because you're doing it with a good intent.
Exactly.
All right. So with that, people making profit, there's I was going through my website, you know me, and I happened to catch sight of this living large and 31 ginormous goods for plus size people.
I love that article.
Didn't you?
You need to see it, read it. It's really good.
You've got to go see it. CBS News actually featured it. So if you go to cbsnews.com and just type in 31 ginormous goods, you'll see it. But there were some of the most awesome things. I mean, an ambulance big enough to carry,
And that is so important. You figure, something you probably never think about because you figure if it's a ginormous or a big or large or accommodating ambulance, then that means they're going to have larger, more accommodating, what do I want to call it? Not bed, but what do they call it? Gurneys. Gurneys. And then that means, okay, so let's give you a little backstory. A couple of years ago, I had to be taken to the hospital in the paramedics. And truly, when they hoisted me on this gurney, I felt so unstable, even though I know that they assessed what I look like and they figured, okay, we could get her on here. But in my mind, it just felt so not so sturdy.
Oh, yeah.
And you're on this little bitty bed and they strap you in and then they got to push you in and, however the ambulance and all this other stuff goes. But if I had seen one of these large paramedics pull up with a larger bed, I wouldn't have had a fear in the world. But I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, they've got like large size tubs and some other things,
One of the things that I love, and I'm going to personally buy because I have a girlfriend, she rides a bike, and I'm on my journey where I am getting more active, and they have this wide seat. Now, I don't know if you guys remember beach cruisers.
Yes.
I bought a beach cruiser because beach cruisers normally came with larger seats, right? And, in the bigger wheels and and a bigger frame and all that. So I figured, like I said, I've always been a bigger person. Figured, okay, that would be the thing. But now the thing is these hybrid bikes, right? Like a 10-speed, but larger frame and all this other stuff. And I was like, but still the seats weren't these nice size seats. Well, one of the seats is a nice size seat, and it's a double seat. You have the normal seat, and aside to that, there's another seat to it. You need to go look at the seat and look at the article. Yes.
I know, it's awesome.
Yes.
Now, this one I chuckled when we were talking about it. I said I had to chuckle because it's like, who would have ever thought to make this? But it's called a bathroom wiping wand. Mm-hmm. And it's this very long wand, and it has like a little thing at the end that grips your toilet paper, you know, so that you can reach behind and get your little tushy all nice and clean.
Okay.
You know, and it was like, you know, you don't really think about it because, you know, if you can do it, I mean, you know, I don't have problems in that area.
Yes.
But there are a lot of people, and I know Sharon and I have had conversations about some things.
Very candid, yeah.
Very candid, and you know, we just you know, sit and chat, and you'll see somebody and you'll think, ooh, I wonder how they handle certain things, because they're huge.
Yes.
Okay? And you're just kind of, I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know?
And to say to that, and sometimes you don't even have to be too big to not to be able to reach. And the reason, even though I'm a larger person, I think it was maybe 9 months ago, maybe coming up on a year, I had a condition which is called frozen shoulder. All of a sudden, my left shoulder froze on me. And when it did, I could not reach to get behind to wipe. And it was a struggle. And you would think in that moment, okay, what am I going to have to do? You have to all of a sudden now think about, I know this may be TMI, plug your ears if you must, but you have to kind of think about, okay, now when it's time to poop, okay, you're going to have to regulate when it's time to go, because then you need to be at home, because if you can't reach to get it good to where the tissue comes out white, that you know that you've gotten it all, then that means you're going to have to transition from the toilet to the shower. Right?
Exactly. So
you have to kind of change your whole world. But if I had known about this little wand, I wouldn't have to had all of a sudden begin to feel like, what am I going to do?
Exactly.
You know, praying that I don't have to go while I'm out in public, while I'm not away from home until this heals, because frozen shoulder is not a permanent thing. If you Google it or whatever, it will eventually, you know, but it could be up to, they say up to 9 months to a year before it loosens back up, or you have to sometimes have surgery.
Right.
And so if it had come to that, I wish I would have known about, what is it called? The bathroom wiping wand.
I know. It's awesome. It's awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
So
I may get one just for the hell of it.
You know, just to try it out. I'm curious. I really am. You know, I really am curious.
Yeah.
But, and then some of the other things on here, and people don't even ever think about it, because I think it's, when I was younger, many years ago, I don't know who died, but it was someone that was a larger person, and they had to bury them in a piano. Because they were that large.
On a piano box crate. Yes.
And the piano.
Yes.
But no, they knew that people were, you know, all eventually go. We die one day. That happens. If you don't know that, I'm sorry to tell you that. But, you know, sometimes
now they're accommodating.
they're accommodating larger caskets.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I love to see. And the one that had really stood out to me was the exercise ball.
Yes.
I never thought about it, but I always knew that I saw them and was interested, but then I just knew that in my mind, I could never get one, because once I bounce a penny too many times, it's just gonna go boop, and
like a balloon.
Yes, but no, they have exercise balls that are accommodating for larger weight.
And I think it's awesome. So definitely check that out, CBS News. You know, and type in 31 ginormous, you know, things. And I mean, it was fascinating. I just kept going through it. I went, oh, what? Who thought? Wow.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it really is. It's awesome. So, you know, I've been a bad girl.
Ooh.
I've been a bad girl. No, I've been a bad girl because our director is waving at me because I keep hitting the table and disturbing our angel and our woman logo.
Yeah.
So if I looked and I'm sorry. You know, I'm going to make you come back on the screen.
Okay.
We're gonna make Michelle come back on again. Ha ha. No, anyway.
Okay, yeah.
But that's just some of the things that we deal with.
Yeah.
But you know, the other thing that I think is really more of a detriment than the fact that there are things that we can't fit in. We can't go on roller coasters sometimes, and you know, can't fit in, you know, certain rides or whatever
For safety,
you know,
and
safety
weight
and
limits
things.
and all
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
So is the attitude that and false assumptions that people have about big people. You know,
Yes.
it's like, okay,
Yes.
you're fat, you're lazy, you know,
You eat too much.
you're slovenly, you'll never amount to much
Yes.
because, you know, you're just a big wadded dull clay or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
Which isn't true.
No.
It's not true at all.
No.
Okay. And you know that. All right? People know this really, you know, it isn't like, you know, consciously they think about it, but it's that subconscious, and it's also years of being fed, you know, this through media. Now, thankfully, the body positivity movement,
Yes.
you know, has made, I want to say, huge strides
Very.
towards changing people's attitudes.
Yes.
But if you notice, the one thing that you don't see a lot of, though, are just people in the news.
No.
You know, you never see all the good stuff
No.
that we do.
No.
So there are a few articles. Some are very positive, you know, and there are some people who try to make them not so positive. But we thought we'd kind of highlight
Yes.
some people in the news who are larger people.
Yes.
The article isn't necessarily about them being larger people, but they're just doing great things.
Yes.
And overcoming things.
Yes.
So we're going to kind of go through a few of those, and hopefully you'll enjoy. And you can go ahead and look them up and, you know, read the whole thing. So this, I'm sure most everybody has seen. Gillette recently did an ad with a very plus size model
Yes.
in her two-piece bathing suit on a surfboard for their razor blades. Well, there was like major media, you know, hubbub, and you know, the good, the bad.
Yes.
I saw the article on Facebook, you know, and it was Gillette's Venus blade, razor blade, you know, that it was for. And the caption was, you know, go out there and slay the day, right? You know, and who knew that there would be so much negativity? I sat after I read the article and I started to read some of the comments, okay? People saying that Gillette was glamorizing obesity, and others praised them for promoting body positivity and shapes of all sizes, okay? Anna O'Brien is the model, and she was on Good Morning America, and in her interview, you know, she said, the purpose of taking that photo was just to capture a really joyful time in my life. I just wanted to remember how happy I felt, and that's all it was. It was just really a happy time in my life. So she's a blogger, by the way, and is a social media influencer. And so she's posted that picture, and she's gone all over the world, and Gillette, you know, contacted her and asked if they could repost it for her, for their ad.
Yes.
And obviously she gave permission. But it's, you know, horrible and terrible, some of the things that people were saying. I think it was awesome. I was like, girlfriend, go.
Yeah,
You know?
one person was like, she's gonna die of heart disease, and you know, it was just so many things. Like when you have people saying that they're glamorizing larger people or this woman, you figure, why not see yourself represented in the media? Here, Gillette gave this woman, you know, reposted something she'd already posted and said, well, can we do this? And here, it's his body. This is her positivity. She obviously loves herself. She's obviously not ashamed of herself. She's not obviously trying to hide herself. And that is something you should show, because men and women need to see themselves represented.
Absolutely.
Men and women use this product, Gillette, whether it's their shavers, their creams, and whatever else that Gillette offers. You know, so you want to see yourself represented. And then it's just really sad how
it was very sad, because even comments with regards to her health, and the reality is
really
like do
whose
you
business
know?
is that?
You know, are you her doctor?
Exactly.
Do you know whether she's healthy or not? She looks healthy to me.
Exactly.
You know, so
or who's to say a smaller person is healthy?
Exactly.
I know fuller figured people that have no underlying issues, whether of any type of inflammations or diseases or what have you.
I know. So it's just really, it's a trip. So I say, Gillette, you know, go for it. Anna, I think you look great, honey.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think,
confidence looks good on her.
It really does. I know. She looks like she's having a ball.
Exactly.
You know?
Confidence looks good on her.
It looks good on her. So I say go for it. You know, no big deal. So next, what do we got?
So what are we talking about? We have the plus size. Okay. So there's a story, and I want to say plus size isn't always a choice. So going to plus size, when we were talking about how sometimes we look at people and we automatically assume, you know, they're fat because they eat, or they're fat because they're lazy, what have you. But it's not always a choice, or it's not always, you know, something that because, okay, maybe if I eat a little bit more, or I'll run 10 miles, what have you, then I'll be slim. Sometimes there are things or conditions that a person has no control over. And in this particular article, Shirley Ojeda, she gives her story, and you can of course read the full story, but she, at a young age, I believe 8.
8, yeah, she was 8.
At the age of 8, was taken to the doctor by her parents, and it was discovered that she had a condition, and with that condition it caused her to be bigger, and they were saying that this is a lifelong thing, and that the only way to maintain it is, you know, maybe watching what she eats, and maybe exercising, but that with that, even though those things, she's still going to be a larger person. And so growing up, she had to deal with that, and she felt some type of way where people was looking at her thinking that, you know, really fat shaming her all of her life, and she felt that. And we can't look at people just because we see larger people and automatically assume that just because they're larger, it's because of those things that we have been told, the eating and the non-exercising, the lazy sloth. That's not always true. Some people don't have a choice. And that was her article. And that
was really a very touching article where she had to kind of come to grips with it herself.
Yes.
Her friends were very supportive. Her family was supportive. Yes. But she herself had to kind of come to grips with it and understand, you know, this is something that I have to live with.
Yes.
And, you know, how to deal with it, and how to deal when people, it's like she was someplace with a friend having a great time, and some guy comes up and hands her a card, you know, saying, you know, when you're ready to lose weight, you'll want to go and check these people out. They do a great, fabulous job.
Yes.
You know, and it was like, really? You know, how rude.
And you figure he, in one hand, wants to be helpful, but in another hand, you don't know my story. And so that could be very insulting.
Absolutely. And she felt
hurtful.
Very hurtful. And she felt really bad. And she kind of like walked away, and her friends were, you know, oh, he's an idiot. You know, he's supporting her. But something inside, I think, snapped that day, because she said, you know what, I needed to go and I needed to tell this man.
Yes.
And so she went and she said to him, hey, you know, don't judge me. You don't know anything about me.
Exactly.
You know, and thanks, but no thanks. You know, there's more to the story, and I hope you read it. Like I said, you know, it's called Plus Size Not Always Your Fault, and it's Shirley Ojeda.
Yes.
So, you know, type that in, Google it, and read her article.
Yeah.
But again, she had to be able to stand up for herself.
Yes.
And this is something that what we encourage is, you know, you got to stand up for yourself. You have to be able to get out there, and you have to say, hey, you know, this is who I am, you know, and love me or leave me.
Exactly. And get to that point to where you're wearing confidence.
Right.
And it shows.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to love you first.
Right. Then we had Sophie, who was a comedian. And Sophie Hagen for a long time. Yeah. She's a comedian, and
I think with the article, with the parts that I read, where she's a comedian, she's a full-figured woman, and she said in the beginning where she would do the fat jokes. and that was part of her bid at first. But then something changed, or her thought or her mind changed, and then now she talks. What is it, into politics, right?
She's kind of going into politics, but she's also deciding that. Again, the body positivity movement talks about loving yourself.
Yes.
She says, how do you love yourself?
Yes.
If you don't know, how, and you're feeling bad, nobody teaches you how to love yourself. Or you love yourself, but you don't love yourself all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking with that, as you were speaking, it reminded me, with that, with the loving yourself, I know people that jokingly, they make the little jokes because it's like, okay, I need to say the fat joke before you say it, or I need to say the fat joke before you think it. And, but when you're doing that, you're listening to you. And, so whatever state of mind that you're in, whether you like something or you're not, if you're a work in progress and you're working on it and you're doing something about it, then you need to love you in that moment until you get to that point where you feel and you're loving you in the body that you're in that moment.
Absolutely.
And so maybe don't make yourself the butt of the joke or make the fat joke or what have you. Change that around, because then it'll change your mindset. And then people will start seeing that confidence. You'll start wearing that confidence. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's really great. Now there's a story, and it's a video. There's a video on it that I really think you all should check out, and it's called. It's about Shane Neary, who has made history as a plus-size transgender model, which it's like, go girl, She says, I've come a really long way from someone who's from a bumble town in Pennsylvania, and I'm now a known plus size model. She says, and I'm a trans advocate and she, works an executive level job is what she'd been doing. But I think it was in 2016 that she first really got into being a plus size model. And she has the most wonderful attitude about the whole thing. I mean, whether she's, transgender, or whether she was, what is it? I think they call it cisgender when you're born a female. I don't know. I don't remember, and no offense to anybody, but I'm still kind of working through the new terms that are being used, So I think if you're born a girl, you're cisgender. When you transition, then you're transgender.
Oh, okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Me, I don't know.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyhow, she says she started transitioning first, wearing drag, so forth and so on. But then it gave her an opportunity to kind of know herself, love herself. And when she eventually blossomed, full bore as a woman, she says it was like just like a whole new thing for her, a whole new life, being reborn almost. And she says, people don't see whether she's trans or they just see her. And that's what she wants you to see her. She has some amazing statements that she said in her interview, and I was just impressed beyond belief with her. And I think that more people should have her attitude, okay, about loving, and she truly loves herself, So I was, like I said, I was very impressed with her. So, she's a first, and we're making a lot of firsts. You had an article about the Sports Illustrated swimsuit model.
Oh, yes. I was introduced to her. And so you can Google the article, and it's Meet Veronica Pome'e, Sports Illustrated first Polynesian swimsuit model. And she's a full-figured, beautiful woman. And they reveal in there her journey to Sports Illustrated, and how, because if you look at the history of Sports Illustrated, I think we were kind of talking about, I think there was just a few
maybe two.
Two before her. And here we have another, and she's what I loved about her when she spoke about herself, she was saying that normally when you think of full figured, you think of full figured kind of maybe a full bust, smaller waist, and then a fuller bottom, right? She said, but that's not me. And then I thought to myself, that's not me either, because I'm fuller in the middle too. But I love when I see people that look like me. She's much smaller than me, but yet she's still full figured. But I love when you see representation of yourself. And here, kudos to Sports Illustrated. And here, the supermodel went out for it. She basically spoke, I think she said in her audition, and said, you go all over the world, and why not get someone, like me, herself. And here she is, I would say, number 3 in line to be the third Sports Illustrated full-figured model, and she's beautiful. And I love the story, so that's another story you can Google and take a look at.
And that's on HuffPost.com.
Yes.
Yeah. So with all of the full-figured models that we've got going out and, coming out, we've got a lot of stories, a lot of manufacturers and stores who are now introducing full-figured lines. So we have Anthropology that has recently added a full-figured line. J. Crew, and J. Crew goes up to 5X.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Okay. Which most stores, even your standard larger full-figure stores sometimes don't go up to 5X. You have to get that online.
Yes, you'll have to do those online shopping, not in store.
Right, and those usually end up looking like moo-moos.
Yeah, and there's not any shape to them, any contour to them.
No contour.
And a lot of times you don't want to just go online and shopping, because when you do online shopping, of course, I personally, because I know that I am a larger person, and when I shop online, I want the ability to do either free shipping and free return. Because let's say when I get it there and it does look like a drape, or it looks like a muumuu or a tarp, I want something with some shape to it. And you don't want to have to go through the return policy. Now, I am into some of those other, what's the box thing that you like?
The one that I used to use was Just Fab, but sadly, Just Fab discontinued their program. So now
I didn't know that.
Yes, and it just broke my heart. Now it's Dia. You have Dia and Company, Stitch Fix, and there's another one also. It's not coming to mind that will do that, where they pick and they will send you a box full of goodies for you to try on and decide what you want, and then what doesn't work, you buy what you want and return the rest.
Yes.
So that's really a good thing. There's a new Dua Lipa, who is a pop singer. She has started a line of clothes. I give her a B for yeah. Well, maybe I'm just giving her a B because she did try. She has a line of clothing, and she wants, she wanted accessible to all, and so all sizes, but she stopped at a size 16.
That's not so all.
And,
that's barely touching full figure.
Barely touching full figure. Most average women wear a size 14, 12, 14. I'm sorry, America. Wake up to that fact.
Exactly.
All right? We are not the skinny nation that we'd like everyone to think that we are. And the average woman wears about a 12, 14. All right? So 16 is just, barely getting into what would be considered really full figure.
Yes.
Okay? So, Dua, you need to really make your clothes accessible by adding a few more sizes, love.
Yes.
Okay? So keep
For
going.
To be considered a full figure.
Yeah. To make it full figure.
Yes.
So, moving on. We've got a lot of other things that we wanted to talk to you about, but the time is running short.
Yes.
So there is one thing that's in our news that we've been talking about for a long time. And
Love Me Just Because? Is that where we go?
yes, Love Me Just Because campaign.
Yes.
We finally have our winners. You know? Yay!
Yes. Thank you for all those that sent in your photos and your write-ups on yourself. We thank you for participating.
Absolutely. And we have 4 winners, okay? And they're all winners, and all of you are winners
Yes.
too, okay?
Yes.
So we're not going to rank by first, second, third, fourth. All 4 are winner, all 4 are getting some fabulous prizes.
Yes.
So are you ready? Drum roll, please. Amber Osborne, Diamond Reed, Anya Akile, and Nicole Vick. Those are our winners. We are really, really excited that, and they have some really beautiful pictures, and we're going to post those pictures.
Yes.
And if you just hang on for a second, we're going to show you clips of when we awarded their prizes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
Congratulations.
Honey's gonna be happy.
Oh, yes, he will.
Yes, he will. Ray, Bryant, and Conseek.
You know they
Gift
stuff is
cards.
bomb.
I love them so much.
So you're going to be able to hook it up, girl.
Yes.
So it's wonderful and terrific and great. So, Anya, here, this is the certificate
Thank you.
for our Glam Lux Beauty.
Summer, do you want to help me open it?
You want to help her open?
Look,
Glam
Summer.
Lux, thank you very much for being our sponsors. We are so excited that we have someone locally who will be able to take a part and have that
Yay,
absolutely
it's a
beautiful
facial.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Being a mom, you're so welcome. Wasn't that fun? I enjoy, surprising people and giving them good
Yes.
stuff, and they were really fabulous women.
Very,
You
very
know, and
fabulous.
so I was very, very happy that they sent in their pictures, and they're gorgeous, and we'll do it again.
Yes.
I
And
think
next
we
time we
should.
have another one, send in yours. Please, when you see our Facebook post or see our Instagram post about it or hear about it here on our channels, send in your submission, whatever that is. And you too would have a chance to win one of wonderful prizes that we had.
Absolutely. And I know you all have those pictures because I see them posted all the time. So share them with us.
Yes.
And win a little prize,
You know who doesn't like to win a prize?
That's right. So, well, our time is up. And I guess Siobhan wasn't able to join us.
But we understand.
We'd hope, but we do understand. I'd hope that you would be able to call in, but that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yes.
Not
and I
a
said the
problem.
cookie crumbles.
As the cookie crumbles.
Yes.
Okay, really good. I'm glad that at least I have one of my partners back.
Yes, no more cooties. I'm all well.
All healthy.
Yes.
Yeah, which is awesome and
Yes.
great. Next month we'll be back, and next month we're actually going to do something a little different. We're going to have all guys on the show. We haven't done that ever.
Nope.
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 So we're going to have, because June is Dad's Month. So we're going to have 4 dads on the show talking about their journey. They are either plus size themselves, or they're raising plus size children, or they're married to plus size women. And so they're going to talk about their journey, how they are awesome husbands, dads, family guys, and how they support their family.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be fun, so you'll have to come back to see that. We've got a lot of good things coming at the end of the summer. I hinted that there's fun to come. Yeah, it's fun to come because we're going to be going on the road.
Road trip.
Road trip, for sure. We're going to be flying to Hawaii.
Woo!
And we're going to do the show there. We might do it live. If not, you'll see it. You'll see the tape. But we're going to celebrate my 70th birthday. Yay!
Woo! 70.
Can you believe that?
No.
I can't believe
No.
it. I know. Where did 70
No.
years go?
And this is what 70 looks like.
There
Isn't
you
that
go.
wonderful?
There you go.
Amazing.
So, yep. So I'm looking forward to being in Hawaii with the crew. We're going to have a lot of fun, do some interviews maybe, and, just
we may be in bathing suits too. You get to see all this beautiful Rubens Nest.
Oh, I'm telling you, for sure. Absolutely, because we will be poolside, you know. So you'll definitely want to look forward to that, okay? We're going end of August, and the show will air in September. So you'll want to do that.
Yes.
So I want to leave you with one thing. Like I said, we hope that you enjoyed taking a walk in a day with us, a day in our lives.
Yes.
You know, the things that we have to deal with as we, you know, traverse this this world. It's not always easy. It's not always fun. But, you know, we do it with our heads held high. We, you know, we learn to love ourselves. And we don't let people put us down. It's like in Dirty Dancing, nobody puts baby in a corner. Well, nobody puts us in a corner either.
Exactly. No,
All right,
no.
we're here, you
Yes.
know, and we're not going anyplace. So, here's a thought: for every negative story, there are so many other positive ones out there, and the only way people will know about them is if you tell it. Okay, you got to speak up.
Yes.
You got to share.
Yes.
So there needs to be more news, more positive news about all the great things that people who happen to be plus size are doing.
Yes.
Let the world know that we are, you know, terrific people, smart people,
Yes.
creatives.
Very.
All right. And there are going to be some posts. The things that we didn't talk about today, we'll post them on Facebook so that you'll get a chance to see them.
Yes.
All right? You know, so definitely remember, if you have a story that you want to share, you know, but don't know how, share it with us.
Please do.
Either send
Drop it
it,
in the comments below.
right?
Check us on Facebook or Instagram.
Absolutely.
Or even email us at
info@rubensnest.com.
Yes,
You know,
please.
and we'll share the story,
Yes.
you know, on your behalf. So do that, okay? As always, don't forget, click, like, share, and subscribe. Absolutely. So from Tomia and I, and Miss Siobhan,
yes.
and our darling director,
Yes,
who is looking at us
Michelle.
she's exasperated, but we love her
Yes, we
anyway.
do.
You know, get out, get up, and go do something that's uniquely yours. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Mwah.